All right, everybody. My name is Kevin. I am one half of your Real Movie Guys crew, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Solo Reel, a series where I go it alone reviewing and discussing your favorite movies and television. Pretty much, this is going to be a series of me just talking about things maybe John doesn't want to cover, or I feel like need more attention. Today, I'm actually going to be talking to you guys about an anime film known as Promare. Promare is the first feature film released from Studio Trigger. They're the guys behind Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. Very, very famous anime. Essentially, the story is massive fires are a constant in this world due to a group of powered individuals called the Burnish, who have the power to control flames, who also have a needlessly unsatisfiable craving to burn everything. A group called Burning Rescue, a futuristic fighter squad, is sent out constantly to quell the flames. However, when Galothymos, a burning rescue recruit, captures the leader of the Mad Burnish, Leo Fodia, Gal discovers his perception and understanding of the Burnish may be completely wrong, and the very fire he is putting out may actually be saving the world. So, with that being said, the first thing, if you notice, if you've seen any kind of images or you even know Studio Trigger, is the first thing that really stands out is the exhilarating art style, the colors, everything, the movement, the simplest structure that they use. Everything's oddly detailed yet simplistic. The studio really likes to use color to exemplify everything. There's a lot of simple shapes, but again, it stands out and it's so powerful. Uh, from the neon glows to a lot of neon tones, I would say. But everything stands out, which you know what you're watching. Again, everything is over the top madness. I almost want to say adrenaline filled, which you're going to hear adrenaline a lot in this because essentially that's the style of Studio Trigger. For a first film, it's great to see the amalgamation of everything they've worked on come to fruition at this point. Everything from taking that art style and amping it up to 11. It seems like almost they have the budget now to show what they truly want to give us, and they do that definitely through the art style. The only thing you could maybe argue is some of the CG effects are noticeable and do take you out of the experience. I would say if you've seen any other previous, at least anime movies, I'm not really going to go into series because there's some series that have done CG well and not so well. Looking at you, Berserk. When I watched the Dragon Ball Super movie, Broly, they integrated CG, I think, perfectly in that series. The character models, it was almost, again, it stands out a little bit, but it's not as noticeable. Here, I felt, and again, this is just, personal feeling, and what I noticed at least is some of the 3D models stood out amongst the others, whether it was some of the 3D building structures, and some of the like transformation character models looked odd. But other than that, like I said, I think the graphic style is so overwhelming you don't really notice it unless you're looking for it. So I wouldn't necessarily constitute that as a negative, but to me at least was visible. Again, the next thing you're going to look at when you hear Studio Trigger and whenever you think of any of their titles, action cinematography. Wow. The first 30 minutes of the opening of this movie, essentially the first 30 minutes of this movie is literally the burning rescue fighting the initial terrorist organization. That's literally the first 30 minutes of this movie. It's just nonstop action from when the main character Gallo enters the field and his robot, proclaiming, "I'm going to defeat you," and, the pop and circumstance, and just, wow. Like I said, the action, whether it's so fast moving, it's fast moving, yet you can tell what's going on, what's happening. It's again adrenaline filled. There's the buzzword of the day. It's just beautiful seeing the mech styles clash in their robot suits, and fire exploding everywhere, and then there's ice being depicted because the Fire Force, what they use ice to put out the fires that are being started. So you see a lot of it's weird, but they use circular rounded guns, like a barreled gun, yet they shoot cubes, which I found interesting, and I thought it was pretty funny actually. And it looks great. Like I said, the action is just second to none. If you're looking for action, if you just want action, this is going to scratch that itch for sure. There's no doubt about it. I think it has everything an action anime junkie would really want. I know it did for me. I primarily do love action, shonen style animes, and this scratched that itch for sure. it's just beautiful. And to accompany the cinematography would be the soundtrack, which again, blown away by the use of the pop soundtrack that they used. It's over the top, just like the action. They used this song. I can't remember the name offhand. It's catchy. It was stuck in my head after this. I've been humming it all day. It accompanies each of the action pieces perfectly. When the action's rising, you start to get a feel that pop start to like creep up, and then it just explodes with the action. And you're just like, wow, it's stuck in your head, and it works perfectly. Like I said, it's great to see the accompanying soundtrack so powerful, work in sanction with the animation so well. You don't really get that, I think, in a lot of American style shows. I would say American style animated shows and theatrics. Japanese anime is known for that, and it's great to see how powerful it is here. Wonderful. With that being said, there are some negatives to Promare. I think the characters are more or less one-dimensional, which is unfortunate. I did say earlier that I felt this was like almost a love letter from Studio Trigger to praise their past series. With that being said, it's almost as if they took all their pre-existing characters and put them into one movie. You have a ton of characters, but maybe only 3 of them are focused. You have the main character, Gallo, who's the young firefighter recruit. You have Leo, who is, the I want to say terrorist, essentially. He's the Burnish terrorist. And then you have Cray, who's the governor. And, he acts like the good guy, but, we'll get into that whole thing. But essentially, they're the only 3 characters that the show really focuses on. There are other characters, but I feel like no one really stands out to me, unfortunately. It's just, I don't know if it was maybe a time issue or what the case may be, but I really wish, I think maybe, in essence, maybe a series would have treated this better, the material better, as far as he's given the characters more development. Again, I don't know if character was necessarily what they were shooting for as far as, what they're trying to portray here. I think the action was the primary, showing off the action and the art style. But again, I really wish I got more out of the characters. Again, I can get behind, the strong, brazen Gallo, and then you have Leo, who's, the emo kind of, I don't want to do this, but I'll do it anyway, oh, I'm so tortured. You have those cliches, but beyond those 2 cliches, there's not much there. And again, that could be said for the rest of the cast, who are also, unfortunately, anime tropes as well, from, the nerdy scientist girl person to the, the cranky captain. Again, all the stereotypes, all the other characters we've seen, nothing new there. And then that's where we get into the story. The initial story of this, I think, is really interesting. Having the firefighter group, they have to go and put out these fires. They have, there's two portions of people. There's, the normal people, and then there's people called the Burnish who cause fires. And then you have this fire force that has to go out and stop these people who feel the need to burn everything. Interesting concept, but doesn't really delve beyond that. They do go into explaining, why they want to burn everything, where the fire comes from, which it was more interesting than I thought. But again, it's nothing substantial. I think just the interesting, I think someone just said, I feel like, oh, what if we had some firefighter guys fighting fire guys, and we'll make a story. Essentially, that's what I felt like they had, and then we'll figure out the story later, but we're going to have some great action set pieces. And again, I feel like that's ultimately what this is trying to go for. It does suffer, I think, from that. I could have used, again, I can't stress enough, I think a 12-episode anime series would have been better than just, a 2-hour movie to cram all this into. They had a lot of ideas. They had a lot they wanted to show off. I just think a little more development, in that instance would have helped. Do I recommend this, though? Absolutely, just for the animation alone. I think you guys should really check it out. So, with that being said, I'm going to give Promare a B. Like I said, if I was just going on the animation, this anime, would be an A plus hands down. I wish it was a show, but because of the shortcomings with the story and the character development, ultimately I think it falls on a B. Not saying it's not worth your time; it definitely is. People who just love action are going to get the most out of this, especially if you appreciate the art style and that. But if you're looking for something deeper, I wouldn't say there's much here as far as that. I would recommend watching Gurren Lagann over that. I love Kill la Kill, don't get me wrong. I think Gurren Lagann is the better of the two. That's probably a very controversial statement right there. But if you can, I would definitely check those out and then, give this a shot. Maybe just watch this, see if you enjoy it. If you like this, go back, give the other two series a chance. That being said, my name is Kevin. I am from one half of the Real Movie Guys. You can follow me at my personal Twitter at GasMaskDragon27, or I'm also at The Real Movie Guy with John. That's primarily where we'll post updates. I'll let you know what's going on with the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're also on various podcast listening services where you can check us out. If you have any suggestions, for future stuff you want me to cover, anime, movies, television, just things you want to hear my opinion on in general, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, again, my name is Kevin, one half of the Real Movie Guys, real movies, real thoughts. This has been the episode of the Solo Reel. We'll catch you next time.